I am here with my wonderful friends, my mastermind group. Will you introduce yourself, Ms. DeShonda?
Good morning. I'm DeShonda Coleman.
Of course, I'm Denise Harris, and
I'm Brittany Wynn. Good morning.
good morning, you guys. The purpose of us getting together, we've had such wonderful, wonderful conversations. And we're like, wait a minute, everybody needs to hear this. And as we talk, we can talk for hours. And these ladies motivate me. They keep me on point. And today we want to talk about one of our conversations that we had. We talked about leaving your village. And why is it important to leave your village? And Ms. DeShonda and Brittany, they were like, okay, when you leave your village, you have to reach back and help the people from your village. So we're going to have a conversation, and we want people to send us questions, things that we can discuss, with our mastermind group. We are all business owners, and we motivate and, what do? We bounce things off of each other.
Yeah.
So, DeShonda, talk about, what we talked about before is like leaving your village, and you said, okay, now that we've left the village, what do we do now?
So one of the things that I mentioned to Denise was that once I've left the village and have gained the experience as an entrepreneur, now that I go back, I feel like they listen more to
Right.
To the message. Because before leaving, we talk about our dreams, we talk about our visions, but then once you actually execute them,
Right.
and then they see the growth, and whenever you're having conversations with them again, then it's like an aha moment. And
That I can do
more
it.
believable.
Right,
Yes.
I can do it. What about you, Brittany?
I think it would be the same thing that DeShonda said. You go out there, you make it happen, and then I can give you the tools that I utilize to make those things come into fruition for me.
Right.
So,
What I learned in my years of business, when I first started real estate, I can honestly say not many people that I knew used me as their realtor. It was people outside of my village that recognized my level of expertise and gave me an opportunity. So once I proved myself to people outside of my village, then the people that I knew say, wait a minute, you know what you're doing. Because your biggest critics are the people that you know. Once you've proven yourself, hey, I can do this. Not only can I do this, I can teach you how to do this. So leave your village, prove yourself, but reach back and grab somebody and say, okay, if you imagine doing this, that's what I did first. I had to first imagine it
that's right.
and have people that can give you advice,
Right.
honest advice,
Right.
and take that and move forward. So you guys, what are other things in starting your business that you did that helped you to be successful? And look, you guys, I want you to send us a message. If a certain message is for me, DeShonda. DeShonda is an educator. I've been in real estate for 16 years. Brittany,
The beauty.
beauty industry. Brittany, the name of your company?
Naked Wax Bar.
Naked Wax Bar. And your company?
Academic Triumph.
Oh, she's brilliant. She's a mathematician, you guys. You see, some people don't want to brag on themselves. It is my job to brag on my friends. And each of you should do the same thing. Uplift your friends. Promote them. And we don't want to be the person to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Allow your friends to do that. So with these ladies, this woman is brilliant. This woman is brilliant, and they just make me look good. So when you started your business, Brittany, what were some of the things that you noticed that you had to do for us to drive and accomplish your goals?
I think just surrounding myself with like-minded individuals really helped to propel me forward, because I could fall back on you and ask you if there was something that I needed to know. We have other people that just you can reach out and, get information from, valuable information and insight, because you can't Google everything.
You cannot.
And I can't ask people that are on the same playing field as I am, or what do I do? What do you think I should do? Because of course they're still in the 9-to-5 mind frame.
That's
mindset.
key. That's
so
key.
I have to find other people that know and just can see the optimism in starting a business and just seeing the positivity in it versus, oh, that's not going to work.
Right.
And just go into it you have to go in it with just one plan. You don't have that backup plan and plan B, because once you have.
Oh,
the
wait.
plan- Oh,
You
sorry.
said key. Go in there with that plan.
Yeah.
I always tell people there are no ifs, ands, or buts. This is what I'm going to do,
And that's final.
and that's final.
Yeah. And that's it. Because once you have the plan B, you've already set yourself up for failure.
Right.
So you have to be just strictly, this is what it's going to be.
So as we have our conversations, this is what we do. And Brittany said something that I like. Everything that we do, we put God first. And we put something in God's hands. And this is why we gel so well, because we have the fear of God. We know we have the power of God, because he's told us that, hey, I'm in you. And in anything, all things are possible, with God. So when you are starting your business, don't leave yourself an out. Don't say, "What if God doesn't do this? Well, then I'll do that." But then you're not leaving it in God's hands. So who is it that knows the story about the angel that fought for 21 days? God had already answered that question, right? He had already answered the question, but it took, Michael? 21 days to get the message to him. So sometimes we want to give up and say, God didn't hear me. He said, let your requests be known. He said, I heard you. You just have to wait when the right time for him to answer that prayer.
That's right. And it's
Yeah.
always a timing, but it has to be a part of his will. Because so many things, we want to will it in ourselves. But if it's not a part of his will, then it was never meant to happen. And it won't be as easy for you. You're going to have a lot of turbulence in trying to produce your own plan, versus it'll be seamless if you just stick to his plan and his will.
His plan and his will.
It took me 10 years. I have binders of plans that I put together. 10 years ago, he gave me a glimpse at the business, and so then I just got in and I just started planning and digging and planning and digging, and it wasn't until I didn't elect to leave my village, I was pushed out of my village, or I was plucked out of the village, because at that point he knew that I was groomed and ready. But I can tell you that I have not picked up the binders that I put together, because he says, for I know the plan that I have for you.
Okay.
And so he used your gifts and talents to be able to manifest the business the way that he has planned. You just have to trust and follow him.
In all thy ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. So, and he has directed me to this lady. We started a group in 2016, Power Surge. And we're going to go back and revisit that, because now it is time to go back and help our village. Some of the things that we are going to be discussing, so please feel free to leave us a message. We're going to be discussing customer service in one of our next meetings. Now that you're starting your business, everybody wants to start a business, but no one's being honest with you on customer service. Also, the other thing that we will be discussing, so make certain you leave some of those questions so we can address those. Now that you're working from home, you have to have the
Discipline.
and the business ethic or etiquette to make certain that you're not talking to somebody and say, okay, I'm washing dishes right now. Or, you don't discuss the things that's going on in your home, especially if you should be conducting business and you are professional with your business.
To add to the discipline, prior to the pandemic stay-at-home orders, we had a different schedule. So now that you're in your home, part of that discipline has to be make a schedule and stick to it, because otherwise you can find yourself either too involved in your business and never find time for yourself.
Balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah, so that balance is very important. I take my lunch break, I go in my backyard and I sit in my chair, and then I come back. And
Yes.
then I have to turn it off at a certain time, because you definitely have to find balance.
I like that. And also having your family understand, just because I'm at home doesn't mean a hot meal is going to be ready at noon or at 3 o'clock. The hot meal will be ready when I finish my work schedule.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So the other thing that I thought about this morning, you know, I worked at Bell South for a number of years, and it hit me. There was a projected number that we had to meet in sales every single month. And as we are moving forward and we're starting our own businesses, there has to be a projected number that we put on ourselves to accomplish our goals. We can't just sit and say, okay, I own my own business, but what are your plans? Do you need this amount of money every month to take care of your family? How are you going to do that? How many people are you going to touch? How are you going to educate yourself? Everything is self-education. Am I going to be able to call you and ask you for a question? Ask you a question, okay, I'm thinking about this. What do you think about it?
Right.
Or
Right.
I call you all the time, Brittany, what do you think about this? And vice versa. But you have to have those plans, and you have to have stretch goals for yourself. This is what I need to accomplish. I need to start a college fund for my child. I need to have emergency money, because when you're running a business for yourself, you may not accomplish the goals every single month, but if some months you go over, you know, you can sustain, you can remain in business for a long period of time.
I think that that's valuable. That's important for us to understand, because so many of us are deprived just business literacy.
Right.
We don't understand. We just see this one lump sum of money, and we don't have separate accounts for things.
Right.
So we just say, oh, well, I made all this money this month. No, you haven't. You know, the business has made this money.
Exactly.
You have to be able to sustain your overhead.
Right.
And things like for this
Pandemic.
president, you know, it wasn't expected. You know, and it was just something that was unforeseen. So when something like this comes up, you have to have enough money set to the side to be able to just carry the business, the weight of the business.
Right.
And because they still want
And to remain in business.
to stay in business.
Right.
Because I read an article saying that so many black businesses in Atlanta, I believe, how hard they were hit just due to this pandemic, you know, and that's why they didn't have something set aside for a rainy day.
I want to add a couple of things. One is, depending on the type of business, you have to know where your peaks are and where your, you know, times where you're, I guess, dry places.
Yeah.
So like, for example, me as an educator, my business will start shifting as the summer approaches, because I won't have as many students as I typically do during the school year. The other thing too is just to be able to, as you all hear, we are in different industries, but there are so many things that happen in our business that's very similar. So we can call and bounce some things. There may be a situation that happens you know, in Denise's business that I can relate to and be able to apply that in the future if something happens, you know, in my business. And same thing with Brittany. And we share a lot of things.
We share a lot of things. So what we talked about, and that's the reason why I felt it's so important just for us to get in front of everybody. Let's just talk. Because when you have people that motivate you, these women never, ever have anything negative to say. We don't talk about, our conversations about how do we become better. We never talk about anybody. And I feel that, you know, you attract what you are. And if you are a person that everybody dumps their garbage on, hey, I want to tell you about this person, you have to change the way you are.
You do.
Because you're attracting people to dump more garbage on you. In order to get to the next level, bring in the people that's going to help promote you. that's going to push you, make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, right.
You know, you have to be uncomfortable
Yes.
to reach your goals.
Yes.
Because a muscle doesn't respond if you're just doing the same thing every day. You have to stretch that muscle. You have to, you know, yes, DeShonda and I did a half marathon together.
Yes.
But, you know, every day we had to stretch our goal. Hey, you need to do 5 miles today. You need to do 7 miles in order to be ready to run the marathon. And running a business is a marathon.
Marathon.
You're gonna, you know, your feet are gonna hurt. You know, your body is gonna hurt. Same thing with running a marathon. I know when I ran that marathon as a healthy woman as I am, you know, I had bruises. I mean, it took me a couple of days to recover. No, more like a week to recover from doing a half marathon. So your business is a marathon. You can't quit until you cross that finish line.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think too, once you've gotten to the point of being complacent, you can just hang it up because it's a scary point to just be complacent.
Right.
Right.
Somebody can swoop down and just take your whole business plan and just, you know, put some sparkles and diamonds on it, and then you out of business.
Exactly.
But I feel like too, going back to what you said, just peaks and valleys, and you're not gonna stay at either position, you know, for too long. You want to be in the valley. That's your learning period.
Yeah.
And then once
Right.
you're at the top, you don't want to stay there too long either. You got to come back down. So it's always up and down. And you know, a lot of people, they're scared to go into business because they say, "Oh well, I want the stability." You know, you can have stability. You just have to know, you know, how to reach the medium.
Be a great planner.
You do. I also want to share this because I've had conversations with friends and families, and sometimes I feel like now my conversations are a little tougher than they were before, because if your business plan or your desire to start a business is attached to a purpose, which it should be, and you elect to keep talking about it instead of doing it,
Right.
then you have to be careful because you will be held accountable for that. So I'm not going to be one any longer who's going to sit there and help you to continue to prolong your ideas. I'm going to talk to you about action plans.
Start.
What are you doing?
And that's what we did. We were talking one day. It was like, this is something that everybody should hear. Okay, let's call up our guy. Let's record this. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
You know,
Like
some-
2 days ago.
No, yeah, this happened like 2 days ago. So I believe in pulling the trigger, and we'll figure it out as we go. But you have to start. When I started real estate, I quit my job at Bell South in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I'm a little young, so I keep forgetting that time. But at the time, and I do want to share this with people, so don't allow anyone to make you feel that you can't accomplish your goals.
Right.
You know, I was making $80,000 a year without a college degree. And when I quit my job at Bell South, I went all in with real estate. I had to replace that income. So whatever you're doing, even if whatever amount it is, it doesn't matter. Go all in. And God even talks about that. He said, you don't want to be lukewarm.
Either you
Don't-
hot or you cold.
Either you hot or you cold. Go in and do whatever it is you do to be successful. And it's just in a room. Let's just talk these things through.
Right.
So when Brittany started her business, I'm like, you got
Miss
this.
Cindy, that's exactly what I was thinking about. I was just thinking about, I called you in the parking lot crying, the people there just let me go. And she's like, Brittany, you already know what to do. You know, and I got off the phone, like, she was like, so I drove on down there and did what I had to do to start the process
Yes.
of starting the business.
And it's very successful.
And yeah, but I sat in that window when I was starting, and I cried and I prayed and I said, this has to work.
Yes.
It has to work. I put everything that I saved up for the last 2 years into this business, money-wise, and I didn't see it as being, and my children were there as we were putting it all together. I'm like, I can't disappoint them.
No.
They're looking up to me and they're all excited. I need to be just as excited as they are,
Right.
so that we can be successful. I wrote it down, I prayed, and I asked God to send me 7 people the first day. We started from the bottom. I have no idea where those 7 people came from if I had to imagine on my own, but I prayed
Say
for
it loud. I want to make certain everybody hears what
7
she's saying.
People, I prayed for those 7 people, and
Loud.
7 people. I prayed for 7 people, and they came the first day. And the second day, I sat in the window, and I was still just weary, and I was worried. I said, I don't know. I don't want to have to come out of my personal finances to pay the overhead for this building. So I said, just send me 20 people, and I'll never ask you anything again. And we had 13 people by the end of the day, and I had 8 appointments booked for the very next day. So he said, look, I'm gonna give you a little bit over. I told you you're gonna be okay. You just have to trust me.
Trust him.
And it's important not to look at what the next man is doing.
Correct.
Right.
Because then you start to compare yourself,
Right.
and then you start to fall short.
Yes.
So it's just having your
Your
dreams
vision,
set, your
right.
vision, and just going for it.
Go for it.
Because I don't know.
No, go for
Sorry.
it. So we're gonna push each other. She's gonna close out. Bye, you guys.
Bye, you all.
Send out some messages.